Hey y'all, I'm Sarah. Welcome back to my channel. I'm so glad we could hang out again today. Today I kind of want to do a bit of a discussion video about goals and goal setting and our expectation when doing so. This came about from some revelations I had from last year as I was looking over the goals I set at the beginning of the year and which ones actually got accomplished. So I decided I would share some of my thoughts on that, namely that not all goals you set will be goals that are accomplished. And what I mean by that is some goals you might find shortly after setting them or further down the road that they're not working for you anymore and that you have to let them go. And this is totally normal. This is a healthy, normal type of outcome from goal setting. There are a couple of different reasons for why you might want to set aside a goal or get rid of a goal. And I'm going to cover a couple of them that impacted me specifically. And they might be something similar to what you're experiencing, and we can talk about it. One of the reasons might be that the original goal was just an experiment to see if you were interested in something or if it was something you wanted to pursue. I think a lot of times goal setting is more, you're not sure what to put down, so you put something down just because you're not sure. Because really your ultimate goal is just to try something instead of really accomplishing necessarily anything. So for instance, like I might have a goal for, I don't know, like book cover design. Not that I'm into book cover design necessarily. I find it easier and better to support artists who actually do it, but let's say I wanted to try out book cover design. I might say I will design 12 book covers, right? And then as I'm dabbling in it, I find I don't really find enjoyment in it, and it's something that I struggle to even bring myself to do, and so I let that goal go. This is really the intent of the goal was to experiment with something, not necessarily to actually like design 12 covers or become a cover designer or anything of that nature. It's just to experiment with something new and see if it's something I wanted to continue doing, or if I'm like, thanks for the experience, but let's move on. Those types of goals are they're just they're just experiments. They're trying to see whether or not it's something you want to pursue long term or if it's just something you want to try out. And there's nothing wrong with letting those goals go. And in fact, you might even say you accomplished the goal, because if the goal in your heart was really to experiment with something, try something out, then you've accomplished that goal. You've succeeded, and that's really awesome. And so it's not really a quitting on a goal or failing on a goal or anything like that. Not that I necessarily agree with those terms anyway, but if those are the mindsets you might have, you can even say you accomplished it because the ultimate goal was just to try. And in that effort of trying, you've achieved your goal. So that's one way you might find that a goal is no longer working for you. And that kind of leads me into the next instance where your goals might change. It's similar to the first point, but it's slightly different. And this is when some of your goals are actually other goals, and you weren't quite sure how to phrase it or what it was going to look like, or anything like that. And so you put something down, but in actuality, in practice, it turned into be something else entirely. This happened to me last year with journaling. I wanted to get back to journaling, so my goal at the beginning of the year was to journal on Sundays, just as an effort to get back into it. And it turned out that didn't really work out as well. But it turned out that journaling during breakfast worked for me. And so that goal, instead of being one thing, turned out to be another thing. I found out through the process, it was more like a process of elimination of what did and did not work. It was trying to find a new process for me to fit journaling back into my life. I used to journal in the evenings or late afternoons after work. And since that didn't really fit my schedule anymore, I needed to find a new time and place. And I thought, well, Sundays make sense. But it turned out that didn't. And so I let that go and let it evolve into something else, such as journaling during breakfast. And that really just worked out better. So sometimes you write down one goal and really the intent is to figure out where something might fit in your life, and that might end up looking different than what you originally intended. And that's really cool. And that's actually like a super achiever, because not only did you incorporate the actual goal into your life, say journaling, it's you found a way that fit in your life where you're at now, and that's really cool. And then my last one is some goals are impacted by outside, shall we say, forces or situations that you aren't in control of. Again, this happened to me last year. I set several writing goals that were impacted by things that were outside of my control, and I wasn't able to accomplish them, and it became apparent very early on in the year that those were not going to happen, just simply because of things I wasn't in control of. And those are usually fairly easy for me to let go, because A, my plate gets a little bit more empty for other things that I am more in control of, and I can dedicate more energy towards those things. And also just simply because there's no sense in fighting something that you don't have any control over anyway. And so I usually just like, alright, I'm gonna let those go. They might come up later, but right now I'm not in control of those things, and I can't really do anything about it to change that. And so those are three various different ways that I've experienced in my life of when goals don't really work out. And I'm sure there are others, so I would be interested to hear what types of situations you found yourself in where you've had to let things go. Let's start a discussion about normalizing goals that aren't accomplished in the way we thought they were going to be, and what lessons we learned out of that experience. Let's start a discussion. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. I'd love to hear your wisdom, whatever it is you have to share about it. Encouragement, whatever it might be, hardships even. And let's just normalize that discussion and that conversation, because while I love setting goals, most people who know me well know I love that, but I also recognize that a lot can happen in a year, a lot can change, and those goals need to be held loosely to some extent, because they may not be actually accomplishable. So yeah, let me know your thoughts on this, and whatever you're willing to share, let me know down in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. Yeah, and if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing. And that's gonna be it for me today, guys. I hope we can hang again sometime soon, but until then, I hope you have a very blessed day. Bye!